Hello, friends. This is Dr. Rob C. Thompson joining you here for my summer break. So I'm taking a little break this episode. I'm going away on vacation, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. I create the vast majority of the content that you hear on Occult Confessions, and sometimes I just need a little time away. As luck would have it, we were doing a festival this past weekend, and I was thinking about, I could really use a break. and we had this show come in. It was called the Goddess Hour live stream and super show. It's that they came in, they performed as part of our festival. We did a bunch of original plays. Liv Literal and Bree actually wrote a couple shows, and Evangeline, Johnny Cook directed a piece for us. So a lot of the alchemical actors were involved in the festival. But this group contacted me, and they asked if they could join us to broadcast their ritual that they were doing, their moon bath. And I said, sure. I mean, why not? We do, a lot of occulty things. I think it fits right in with the spirit of the festival. So as part of our phenomenal festival, we had this group come in and take the stage. But then something very unusual happened in the midst of their performance. Church Secrets showed up. Now, this is not as surprising as it might sound. Church Secrets, longtime listeners know, are arch enemies and rivals. The antithesis of all we represent is embodied in the podcast Church Secrets. But they are fairly local to us as well. So the fact that Church Secrets should catch on to this Moonbath event and should want to terrorize me in particular, it's really not shocking whatsoever. So we did get a recording of everything that took place at the festival, and I'm going to share it with you today for my vacation. This is my stepping away. So in lieu of the regular content that we would otherwise provide, deep research and what have you, I'm going to share with you what Church Secrets did at our theater. Now here's the fun part about it, though. Now Church Secrets, he really gave me a few things to play with here. He didn't just take over this show and allow me to steal his event as content for Occult Confessions, but he also created this bizarre puzzle, as you'll hear. So the play, the event, the live show, the stream, whatever you want to call it, the Goddess Hour, actually became a kind of escape room puzzle-solving event. So in order for you at home to solve Church Secrets' puzzle that he created for the people who went to see the Goddess Hour live stream super show, you've got to look at the thumbnail picture for this episode. And you'll see on that thumbnail picture essentially the kind of trap that Church Secrets created for folks to try and find their way out of. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let you tune in to the Goddess Hour live stream that did appear, show at the Cadby Theater on our college's campus, as part of my performing arts center that I run, and you can hear what Church Secrets did after that show got started.
Welcome to the Goddess Hour, and thank you so much for being one of our valued VIPs. In addition to this live pre-show before our big ceremonial moon bath, you as a VIP enjoy access to all of our official Goddess Hour publications and a photo op with yours truly, Lilith L, immediately following today's ritual. I want everyone to be vigilant today. We all need to be vigilant against the patriarchy, but especially today. I have big news, friends. I think I have a stalker. I keep seeing the same guy at the thrift store and the pharmacy and the grocery store and on the way to the Shero Visionary Center and Spa. And now I've started getting these strange letters with, like, puzzles or riddles or whatever. These letters are signed Church Secrets, and he says he's going to shut down our show tonight. I haven't seen anyone suspicious on the premise, but the last letter said we need to prepare for the biggest puzzle of all. I don't know what that means, but I might need your help if things get funky or, like, toxically male. And now for the show. First, I'd like to introduce our technician and editor, Marcus Grayson. Marcus Grayson, everybody! And now the host with feminine most, which is to say, just the best of the most. Me, Lilith L. Okay, the big donged elephant in the room is this stalker of ours. Marcus just handed me this letter. In a few moments, I will be commandeering your signal. Listen closely to what I am about to say to you, as I will be providing the clues you need if you ever plan to escape my trap. Your enemy, Church Secrets.
This is Church Secrets, broadcasting from the headquarters of Inside Truther Media at the epicenter of the counter-revolution revolution, in a top-of-the-line garden shed liquidator Daddy's Den Deluxe, model bunker, and greenhouse on the banks of the Chester River. And this is a hostile takeover! You were expecting the Goddess Hour podcast and live stream super show, weren't you? Well, the Goddess Hour is my hour now. You unrepentant, unenlightened, uncircumcised heathens. But this hour is not going to last 60 minutes. I mean, an hour is 60 minutes. I know that. I'm not a buffoon. And the current hour is going to be 60 minutes as far as time, just like all the other hours typically are. What I mean to say is that the show is called the Goddess Hour Podcast and Live Stream Super Show, and I'm cutting it short. What exactly was your plan for tonight, anyway? The International Moon Bath and Bonfire? A special ceremony of goddess lovers the worldwide joining hands with their bare butts glistening in the moonlight to bring the divine feminine energy of love, nurturing and compassion into a world full of distrust, hate, and distraction through their collective attention, intention, and new age crystal-gazing vagina magic? What a load of horse dookie. It's time for me to get you inside the truther, with a little re-education and correct your firm, round, elegantly displayed feminine heinies. So grab a permanent marker and take notes. On your foreheads, preferably. So you can read the truth off the dumb expressions of your neighbors. First off, I don't think women are always wrong. You just happen to be a group of women who happens to be way out of the henhouse, so to speak. I want to tell you a little story about Marianne, a lady who came to lecture at my men's group. Now, we wouldn't ordinarily, under any circumstances whatsoever, have a female presume to tell us the deal. But this particular member of the softer sex happened to be standing at our men's meeting spot in the pagoda behind the China Happy House that we commandeered in the name of the Patriot Movement. Because when we got his offer to lecture, we agreed that Marianne must be his code name in a local undercover operation designed to catch off-brand vitamin dealers. But his actual name was Marianne. And worse yet, she wore a denim jacket to our man cave conclave. Now, jeans and jean-related products are strictly forbidden by the man code, given their long association with organized labor and physical comfort and practicality. Comfort is not a real man's top priority. We expect to sit uneasy in our pleated polyester camouflage jumpsuits. Little itch in the seat lets you know it's working. It keeps you alert in the event of a sudden invasion by outer space communists. A denim jacket, she said, is just a denim jacket. Blasphemy. Marianne wasn't all bad, as advertised in the Kill a Male, Break the Jail graphic tees she sold on her website. You see, she spent time in the clink, and we thought the jail time was for asserting her sovereignty in the face of the U.S. Postal Service and surveillance state, since that was the title of her lecture. 5 quick tips for liberation. Maybe she just wasn't an awesome speller. As it turns out, the shirt was plenty accurate, since her first tip was murder your ex-husband. Marianne had murdered 2. She did 10 years for manslaughter. As for the government, the great Alexander Graham Bell never imagined that the feds would be using his wired talkie contraption to place a woman and her husband's dismembered corpse in a canoe 1 mile off the coast of the Wetlands Turtle Hatchery on the far end of Chester Island. But place her they did. It's getting so you can't even murder your ex-husband in peace, she said. I had to agree. And Marianne should have known better. Her ex-husband had watched her every move for 4 years on a closed-circuit camera system locked in a shed behind the guard stand at the fun park where he ran the Screaming Hippo ride. You screamed. The hippo screamed. Marianne's ex-husband screamed when she bashed his eye hole into the ride's joystick. Marianne had a trunk with her, with a full load of easels and diagrams and fallopian tubes and whatnot that she couldn't get open. She looked at me and asked for help. But ever since that incident with the wombat at the Marsupial Rescue Park and Shooting Range, I don't never open an unlabeled black box for any reason. I'll repeat, I don't never open an unlabeled black box for any reason. And when Fredo calls looking for a freelance wrangler, I tell him he's got the wrong gringo, hombre. Anyway, once she got her charts out, Marianne started talking about a woman's participation in the rural economy, and she said that a woman can do any kind of labor a man can. And I said, what about chickens? And she said, what about chickens? And I said, a woman can't raise chickens. And she said, why not? And I said, because a mammalian woman is jealous of the ovarian capacity to hatch offspring outside the body, and her jealousy impinges on the care of the birds. This is a scientific fact. And Marianne threw an unopened can of sparkling water that hit me in the sternum. I tuned in last week to the International Forest Bath and Bonfire. I consider it my sworn duty as a citizen to keep track of all, or at least most, heathen activity within my state's borders. And this unshaven naturist romp that scrolled across my social monitoring feed most certainly qualified. There was a female lady standing over a fire pit in the Altogether, the flame a perpetual reminder of the vulnerability of her bare skin, as she gently placed stick upon wood into the flame, with such care and confidence that even her nether fuzz didn't singe in the orange heat. As I watched, I felt stirrings, which the brazen wench must have anticipated, though it was clear they were not her purpose. For she simply continued in an almost meditative state to feed the fire as a blur of female women, similarly unclad, circled behind her. This was the true evil of her temptation, you see. Looking on from the comfort of my bunker, I became so focused on the simple movement of her body that I forgot about my stirrings, though they stirred on unnoticed. There is no greater evil than an evil you knew was evil before you knew anything about it, but started to think it wasn't evil in the middle of experiencing it. There's some kind of demon in that. A demon with a shifty name. Bonnie. Or Steve. Seeing so many of you out there in the trees unashamed, I couldn't help but think back to that summer at the Chester River Coeducational Morale and Fortitude Sleepaway Spectacular when Maisie Antherson showed me her bits. She told me to meet her behind the wall next to the shooting range. I didn't know what for, even when she showed up alone in her nightshirt, on account of her nightshirt went down to her kneecaps. She asked if I wanted her to take it off, and I thought she meant her red corduroy baseball cap, which seemed too hot to wear on a summer night. So I said I'd never wear baseball caps after monsoon season. This seemed to confuse her, because she didn't mean her red corduroy baseball cap at all, which somehow stayed on the top of her head as she lifted up her shirt and stood there before me in nothing but her red corduroy baseball cap. Well, I went straight back to my bunk bed supervisor and told him I had seen a great temptation. and my bunk bed supervisor woke up Maisie Anderson's bunk bed supervisor, and she said they were Maisie Anderson's bits. She had a right to show them to whoever she wanted to show them to. So he said Maisie Anderson subjected me to an uninvited visual assault, and she said, what did he expect she was going to do when she walked me out behind the wall next to the shooting range? And I said, maybe a quick shoulder squeeze. And then she stormed off, and Maisie Anderson spent the rest of the summer at the all-girls camp across the lake. I felt so bad I snuck out of the cabin 3 times the next week to stand under the basketball hoop in my swim trunks around my ankles. Let mosquitoes bite my bare bottom until I stopped thinking about her. I saw her again on the dock a few days before camp ended. I was on the beach, and I tried to get her attention by writing a note and tucking it inside a juice carton that I launched several yards into the lake, but the carton floated off into the boggy direction of the shoreline, and Maisie didn't see me. She was busy laughing with the other girls, and I imagined her taking off her oversized nightshirt for them behind whatever the equivalent of the wall is next to the shooting range at an all-girls camp. Some kind of sewing bench, maybe? A doily crafting station? After Maisie left, the female bunk bed supervisor could never keep the correct count of her campers. And that is how I learned women are horrible at math. That's why I made sure my devices were concealed on top of a math equation. There was a day in late July after Maisie left. I was in a field and I was swarmed by bumblebees. The big ones, you know, without the stingers. I'd never seen so many of them before, lugging their gigantic bodies through space for nature's amusement. I tried to sprint out of them, but they ran into me, pelting me like fuzzy little hailstones. And I panicked, thinking I was stuck. There's a black and yellow stripe in every direction. I staggered a bit and lost direction, and without thinking I started to move the way they were headed, and the chaos sort of settled. The buzzing, which made me think of my mother's chainsaw the night she took 6 inches off the kitchen table because we wouldn't eat our mustard greens, suddenly softened. I saw myself in the spot of the backwoods, where the creek drops down a short slope and the water rushes gently forward. Next thing I knew, I was standing over a pile of rotting mailboxes. A grizzled old man in rust-stained overalls handed me a pamphlet that I've kept ever since, with a picture of a rattlesnake with bulging biceps, riding a bald eagle over a grove of trees, sprouting fresh-baked apple pies under a red, white, and blue sunset. And the old man said, "You let the government do one thing, and they want to do it all." Didn't ask what he meant. Somehow, I just knew. Like I knew without her saying that Mother meant if we didn't eat our greens, we wouldn't get any bigger, and we'd need a shorter dining room table to eat off of for the rest of our lives. What were we talking about? That's right, my digital stream jacking. Maybe let's not call it that again. Now this is how little I think of you. There's actually a way for you to take your hour back. Except that you won't, because you are inferior representatives of the species. And you get more inferior the more you tune into this milkless mother's teat of a podcast. In my experience, stupidity has an amplifying effect, which is why I broadcast alone to an audience in the single digits. It's all part of the master plan. Trust me, you're not alone. You're smart. You're resisting infantilization. I will not be infantilized like some unemployed infant suckling off the pap of the Marxist bureaucracy. I was bottle-fed, you weak, limp-boned little bastards. This device with which I've hijacked your signal is hidden right here with you in the room. According to the guy living in the abandoned Radio Shack I stole it from, it had to be in the room in order for me to overwrite the stream. And he should know. He used to work for Radio Shack before the fascist women's studies department that we call a government conspired to shut down all the Radio Shacks nationwide to keep men like me from solving our own problems like real men do with resistors and capacitors and tiny little solar panels and like batteries and stuff. Call someone who knows what he's doing, she said. I'll know what I'm doing. I just need to figure it out, I said. And I don't need some girl who happens to be paying my rent to be emasculating me in my man-stones with a spoonful of stone-stealing, naysaying, namby-pamby nonsense like saying I ought to call someone who knows what he's doing. If you can find where I hid the device before the moon goes down, which you can't, then you can have your bare moon bash. And here's the trick. I already told you exactly where it is. If you don't pick the right box right away, I'll erase one of the episodes from your episode feed for every wrong box you open.
He told us exactly where it was, right?
I think so.
Were you taking notes?
Yeah.
Well, let's see them. Okay, unlabeled black box. Thinks women are bad at math. No denim. This guy's an idiot. Marianne killed 2 ex-husbands. I don't know how that'll help us.
All right, so the audience made a guess, and it didn't go so well the first time.
Gosh, there's nothing in it. Let me check. Oh, no. The one about why vaginas are worth more than gold. The episode, it's gone. It's gone.
No, that was my favorite.
That was my wife's favorite. This 2-hour car rides are going to be terrible now.
The second box, they got it right. The audience did help them find exactly what it was they were looking for. So why don't you go ahead and take a look at that picture and see if you can identify the box that is the one Church Secrets was pointing them toward, containing whatever it is Church Secrets was hoping they would find.
It's a letter. There's a green light now. Oh, the microphone is back on. But the red light is still on, and he's still not gone.
Well, what should I do? Should I read it? You want to answer me? Hello? I'm going to read it. Maybe you can leave us alone then. Maisie, I found your show on the interwebs through a complex surveillance operation I've been captaining since the internet moved into our pants. Okay. You don't remember my name, but that night at summer camp behind the wall beside the shooting range, I had a pocket full of purple licorice. The kind that stains your mouth when you eat it and comes with a sticker. I still remember the picture on the sticker. It was a lemon shaped like a triangle with a mouth with a mouth that said, I want to be a different shape. I should have shared it with you and stuck the sticker under the cafeteria table where you showed me how you ate cereal with a butter knife, and it could have been our secret. That the sticker was there, I mean. The triangle lemon with the mouth. I still don't get it. I think maybe it wasn't meant to be funny. We would have liked it anyway. I don't like much these days. Even the things I like, I don't like as a matter of professionalism. I've enclosed the sticker. Okay.
Listen, man, I think you got the wrong goddess hour. We don't know anyone named Maisie here.
This message is pre-recorded. I'm shutting off your microphone now. I lied. I didn't tell you anything about how I stole your feed. I just wanted you to read the letter. Now step back from the microphone so you don't get a shock. The Radio Shack guy said excessive electricity was just how they designed them in the 90s. Take one more step for me. All right. This message is pre-recorded. We're talking about the sticker. Listen. The lemon isn't happy because it's a triangle. The lemons are round. But why should this particular lemon care one way or the other? It's not really a lemon after all. It's a sticker. And in the hermetically sealed universe of that little sticker, lemons are triangles. What I'm trying to say is Radio Shack technology is not the sort of thing that can operate from a single point of weakness. You've got to triangulate the signal. You know what I mean? It's the point of the sticker. The lemon isn't happy. Not because it's sour or some freakish, abominable citrus with a mouth and sentient thoughts. It isn't happy because it's a triangle and it wants to be round. Or maybe square. Who knows? The sticker doesn't. The device comes in 3 parts. A capacitor, an anticapacitor, and a disruptor. Find all 3 and you've got a prayer of shutting it down. You're smart enough to find the letter. And now that you've got the letter, you've heard everything you need to find parts. If you dare. Which I'm guessing you do. Dare, I mean.
So at this point, the audience was challenged to identify the boxes on the stage that contained the capacitor, the resistor, and whatever the heck else he was talking about. So why don't you go ahead and take another gander at that picture and see if you can find those boxes.
Okay, you got him. That's fine. That's what I planned all along. The question now is, how do they go together? How do you disable a disruptor with a capacitor that's been disconnected from the anticapacitor? I'll let you think about that while I sip this Thai iced tea. I'm not a big fan of Asia as a rule, with its surplus labor and use of flags without stars, stripes, or bars, but the Thai people do know their way around an iced tea. And they know the best color for flags. You know, I had a puzzle as a kid. It was a daisy with a mouth, and the mouth said, "I want to be a different flower." You see, the puzzle had 4 pieces, and I only had 3 of them, and there was no way of knowing which way they went together without the 4th. So I stacked them instead, so that it wasn't a daisy anymore, if it ever was. The daisy was a different flower, the flower it wanted to be all along. I can't do that kind of thing anymore. Stack pieces how I feel. I need to get the puzzle right, or else I end up throwing the whole thing in the trash. It must have grown out of something. I don't know why. Fredo once said the secret to wrangling wombats is to not wrangle them at all. I'm not sure why I took over your signal. I mean, I didn't really. You've been streaming this the whole time to your own audience. I've just been overhead talking. There was a thought to fight whatever it was you represent, but it wasn't a full thought, kind of like the moment I pulled the covers off my bunk bed supervisor back at the Moral Fortitude Sleepaway Spectacular. If I had thought further, I might have thought better. You know, Marianne was married twice. Her first husband hauled bulk landscape supplies for a living, and he wouldn't let her have her own pickup. He went over the side of the overpass heading towards the lower shore and was buried in his own dirt. I think we've learned something here today. I know I have. And that's what matters most.
Hello? Can you hear me?
It's back on. Is he still there?
The red light is off.
I think he's really gone.
The moon is up. Come on, let's go.
All right, so I'm going to give you the solution to the puzzle right here and now. So if you're driving and didn't get a chance to look at that picture, and if you're driving, I hope you didn't get a chance to look at that picture, then go ahead and pause this if you want to play later, and you can make your guesses before I tell you what the correct boxes were on that picture. I'll take a second here. Not a whole song or anything. We already did that twice for you to think. Okay, then. So everyone who is listening to me right now has had an opportunity to guess. The answer to the first puzzle, you will notice there is a box in the top right. It is on top of a black box on top of a math equation that has what looks like the letter I on it, or the letter H tilted on its side. That is where we discovered the letter. You'll note Church Secret said that he would not open a black box, but that he believed if he placed the secret box above a math equation that this would fool the audience. The solution to the second puzzle, you'll note that Church Secrets mentioned triangles quite a bit in triangulating the signal and a triangular sticker. There are 3 brightly colored boxes that were situated on the stage, and if you assembled them, they would form the shape of a triangle. So thanks for playing, and thanks for letting me take this summer break here, courtesy of Church Secrets. We'll be back next time. I'm going to do, I think, a brief season on my book project, which has been about the mythology, and sort of a little bit of the religious components and culture of Nintendo's characters in the 1980s and early 1990s. Really, my time span is the end of sort of the heyday of the arcade era, the golden age of the arcade era, through about 94. PlayStation takes over, Pokemon take over, it becomes a different world. But how did all this get started? How did video game characters get started? And what does that have to do with mythology and what we think about mythos and heroes and protagonists and all that sort of good stuff? So we're going to spend a couple episodes talking about that work, 2 or 3. And then, I believe, hold me to this, and, boy, I've struggled with this. What am I going to talk about next? I have a stack of books now, and some listeners have actually expressed interest in this, which I think Jung would appreciate in light of his theories of synchronicity. I am going to do a whole series on C.G. Jung. His theories, his ideas, the Red Book, all those things you guys are curious about out there in the occult sphere. Here on Occult Confessions.